Hey, what's up YouTube? Lightsaber Samurai here, and I'm back again with another video, and this is a response of sorts to Retro Rivals on YouTube. Now recently they put out a video showcasing some of the games that you need to pick up on the Xbox, or the original Xbox rather. Now that the Xbox Series X has come out, they are starting off where they left off with the Xbox One and Xbox 360 with adding backwards compatibility across all their previous platforms, which is fantastic, by the way. But as of the recording of this video, I think there's about 38 or so original Xbox games that are on the list, and I'm sure they're going to be adding more. But in this video, I wanted to showcase the next 5 games that they really need to put on the platform. So without further ado, let's talk about it. Okay, so the first game on the list, it might be an oversight of sorts. Perhaps there's a licensing issue that's going on, but the first game that they need to add is Grand Theft Auto, and not just Grand Theft Auto 3 or Vice City or San Andreas, but they need to put the entire trilogy on there. So the Grand Theft Auto trilogy that came out on the 6th generation of consoles, some of the very best games that you will play. Grand Theft Auto 3 was so groundbreaking at the time when it came out in 2001, because at that time we thought we knew what open world gaming was, with, you know, games like Mario 64 that kind of had those big open levels. I remember Mega Man Legends was another game that made me feel like that. Of course, when Driver 1 and 2 came out, they were, at the time, they were the kings of open world games, which is crazy to think about, you know, as far as, you know, that genre of games go. Like, there wasn't anything, in my opinion, better than Driver 2. In that game, you can hop out of your car and run around the city and all that, but I digress. Grand Theft Auto 3, when it came out, it really let you feel like you were free to do whatever you want. You know, it was followed up by Vice City, which had that same formula infused with a dose of the 80s, which was fantastic, and it was perfect at the time when it came out because 80s babies were coming into their own. And the early 2000s was very much a return to 80s culture in a lot of ways, and so that came out at the perfect time. And then it followed up with San Andreas in 2004, and that was one of the very few games that I buy day one. I don't buy brand new games when they come out. San Andreas, I was there, I skipped school to play it, and yeah, it was fantastic. So obviously, these games are probably going to make it on the platform at some point, but I didn't see them on there. Unless I'm tripping, I went and checked, so maybe I'll go back and check again, but unless I'm tripping, these games weren't on there, and they really deserve a place on the backwards compatibility. Of course, you can play these on the Xbox One and the Xbox 360, so I'm sure that they'll make it on there within the next couple of months. Moving on to the next game on the list, and this is a title by Sega and Sega's famed Smilebit team, who put out a lot of great games in the early 2000s. The greatest among them, in my opinion, was Jet Set Radio Future. I believe I said that right. Jet Grind Radio was the Dreamcast version of it. This is a slightly altered and revamped version. They did some tweaking primarily in the levels, just to make the levels feel more connected, and so this definitely had more of an open world feeling than the Sega Dreamcast version did. The graphics were slightly enhanced, and this would make a fantastic BC. Again, this you can play, I'm pretty sure, on the 360 and the Xbox One, so I'm sure this one will join the cast at some point, but a fantastic game, and I can't wait to see this on the platform. Everything from the graphical style, the cell shading was beautiful at the time. It still holds up today, and especially the Xbox version, it was upscaled to 480p, so it looks great even on modern televisions. The gameplay was nice and arcadey and fun, and the music, man, the music is the Jet Grind soundtrack is one of the best in all of video gaming, in my opinion. Those kind of electronic techno hip-hop beats, like all fused in one, like it's a great sound, and one that's really timeless. I mean, considering this game came out over 20 years ago, that you know, this is still music I like to listen to. So if you see this one, definitely pick it up. Jet Grind Radio, or this version of it. This version is the version that came with that Sega GT game, and so this version will cost you about $5. But to get the standalone version, it's going up in price now. I saw the standalone version in a game store once for about $25 and didn't pull the trigger on it. And by the time I went back to go buy it, it was too late. So I am on the lookout for the actual like standalone version of it. So if you see that one, last I knew it was going around $35, and I would say it's still worth a brand new price. So next time I see it, I'm gonna pull the trigger and grab that, and you should too. Okay, so the original Xbox was known for its first-person shooters. It had a lot of great series that came out during that generation, Halo being chief among them. And not only that, but as far as the third-party titles go, when it came to first-person shooters, I preferred to buy it on the original Xbox because they tend to, graphically, they tend to look the best. And of course, the S controller with its triggers, it felt the best to play first-person shooters on the original Xbox. They did good with having black on the Series X right off the bat, so that was good on them to do that. But one that they're missing and that I hope they add soon is the Timesplitters series, and in particular Timesplitters 2, which was my favorite on the platform. It's pretty much the same premise as all the others, where you're kind of traveling through time. And honestly, I never really understood the premise of the storyline that well, but it was just the gameplay for me, man. The shooting action was fantastic. I remember I had the demo of this game on the original, on the PlayStation 2, and I played the heck out of that demo, where it's the first level and you're in the, you know, in that kind of facility outside in the snow, and just practicing my sniping on that. But the graphics are really smooth, and they have a really smooth, clean look. The art style is really fantastic as well. It moves at a nice 60 frames a second. And anybody that's played the Timesplitters series will tell you that Timesplitters is a fantastic first-person shooter series, and different from your kind of run-of-the-mill, kind of gritty, military, brooding, you know, kind of shooters that they got going on nowadays. So I think that's a different look, and one that we really should see on the Xbox Series X in the near future. Okay, moving on to the penultimate title on this list, and this is one I really got to talk about because, as some of you already know, this is like my favorite game on the original Xbox. Definitely like top 3 for me, and we never saw it BC on the Xbox 360. It did not come to the Xbox One, at least so far it has not, and the only way you can play this game is on the original Xbox, and that game, of course, is Advent Rising. Basically, in my opinion, it's very much a third-person Halo experience, but in addition to it being just a third-person Halo, they give you a bunch of psychic powers that you can wield throughout the course of the game. So a really cool game. Like, at its time, like, it was supposed to be the first in the trilogy, which unfortunately never happened. Who is it? Scott Orson Wells, I think. I'm forgetting the name. He's a famous sci-fi writer. They got him to write the story of this game. A cast of great voice acting, like Corey Matthews from Boy Meets World. He is the one who voices Gideon Wyeth, who's the main character, and a bunch of other actors. They got Tommy Tallarico to do the musical score on this, so the music is on point. This is all in all just a fantastic game, and one that I don't understand, like, why it didn't become more popular, or whatever the case. They just give you so many different looks where you can it's basically a third-person shooter, but you can also switch to first-person view, so you can fire your guns in first person and move around like that. You can use all your powers in third or first-person view. So it gave you a lot of different looks and a lot of variety in this game. This is still a dirt cheap game. It's like $5 wherever you see it, and if they add this to the BC list, definitely you should go out and pick it up. Even if they don't, man, if you still got your original Xbox, you can find your original Xboxes now for about $80, $60 to $80 or so, and I would say that they're worth that. The Xbox is a great library, and so pick one of these up and just play it there, man. It's a fantastic time. Okay, moving on to the final game on the list here, and I was looking at the list and I was seeing kind of a lack of racing games. Now, I like racing games well enough, and I'm sure we'll see all the Forza games come to the platform in the future. As of right now, you can play the Xbox games on the 360. You can play the 360 games on the Xbox One, but one thing that I want to see more of in terms of racing games, I want to see more of the arcade racers. And the best arcade racing game on the original Xbox, in my opinion, is another title by Sega, and that is, of course, Sega's Outrun 2. Now, they also have Outrun Coast to Coast, and I would show you that game, but that game is too expensive for me, so I had to get the regular Outrun 2. But even the regular Outrun 2 is still a fantastic game. Everything from the remixed music to the remixed levels, all with a fresh coat of paint on it. It's just a really fun time, and one of the first arcade racers there I really got into because the drifting was awesome, and it feels really good in this game. So I would like to see them add more of a variety of racing games as opposed to just like the simulator. So we need more arcade racing games in general. And as far as the original Xbox, Outrun 2 and Outrun Coast to Coast, the best arcade racers on the system. So they definitely need to find their place on the BC list. Alright guys, so I do believe that's all I got for you in this video. I just want to throw this out real quick because I saw their video and was intrigued that some of my favorites weren't on there, so I just want to talk about it real quick. But if you guys have other titles, what are some other titles that you think that they should add to the BC list in the near future? Let's talk about it in the comment section below. Questions, comments, concerns, threats. If you like this content, please go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe. If you haven't done so already, you'll be glad you did. I do believe that's all I got for you. Lightsaber Samurai out, and peace.